Well, the video dropped this morning of Antigravity, a collaboration between Insta360 and this new company, Antigravity. And I want to talk a little bit more about Antigravity a little bit later on. But we all saw the video, and if you didn't see the video, I'll put a link to it down in the description so that you could see the teaser video. And, usually whenever they start sending out teaser videos, something is going to get released really, really soon. Well, for the last couple of weeks, we've seen some leaked images of two drones that are from Insta360. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that and some reasoning and some curiosity that I have. And by the way, this is pure speculation. I do not have the drone. I have not seen it. I don't know any of the details on it. Insta360 hasn't told me anything about this, so this is just strictly speculation. But I am very excited about what this drone may actually offer. And I do want to talk a little bit about history because, the buzz over the last probably 2 weeks now has been about the DJI 360 camera. And everybody's like, well, it's going to have dual 1-inch sensors and this and that. And by the one leaked video, that's not actually true. So, but that's been the buzz on YouTube, all about DJI and 360. And all of a sudden, a lot of people that don't like Insta360 products, as far as like the X3, the X4, the X5, or the Ace Pro 2 that Insta360 has, a lot of them have been saying, oh, it's yay, DJI, they're going to come out with a 360 camera. And it's really funny because Insta360 in one video has now kind of taken over the whole buzz of what's going on the internet regarding drones and 360. And the reason I think that is really important, I want to go back to a timeline of back in 2016. So there was a lot of rumors about GoPro's going to release a drone. Now you got to remember, back in 2000, I think it was 13, DJI had the Phantom series that was out. Well, 1 month before GoPro released their drone, DJI out of nowhere, they released a Mavic Pro. And that was a groundbreaking drone. And everybody thought, whoa, hang on a second. We've got the GoPro drone, and they're really going to get into this whole drone market thing. And they've got the GoPro here, a camera that you can stick in, and the gimbal and all that. And DJI just kind of took the wind right out of GoPro's sails. And, to add insult to injury, GoPro, their drones were falling out of the sky. And it got to a point to where GoPro just had to recall all of them, and they got out of the drone market completely. So now we've got DJI getting into Insta360's territory of 360 cameras, and Insta360, as a rebuttal, said, oh, fine, here's my beer, hang on to it, we're going to get into the drone market, and we're going to create a new company called Antigravity. Now, the leaked images that we saw of Antigravity is not the name of the drone, it's the name of the company. So Insta360, it's not actually an Insta360 drone, it's like a sister company now. So a lot of the technology that went into the X5 and X4 and the whole 360 ecosystem on how Insta360 makes those cameras has been developed in conjunction with this new band of engineers that created this drone. So let's take a look at the drone, the leaked images, and some of my thoughts about it. Okay, so everybody has seen this video or this image right here of the Antigravity, where they were talking about the 360 drones that were possibly coming out, and that was the leaked stuff that we've seen over the last 2 weeks. And yes, there was a lot of speculation. Is this going to be a 360 drone? Because if you look on the bottom here, this appears to be a 360 lens. And then up here on top appears to be another 360 lens. And then, of course, you got a USB Type-C charging port here on the rear, and that could be for data transfer also, because we don't know, does this support internal recording storage? Now, looking at this, I would not say that, considering that this is a 360 camera, and we've got one lens up on top, one lens on the bottom, I don't think that this drone's going to come in at the 250 gram or under mark. I think that this is going to be a larger drone, probably around 5 to 700 grams, but that's strictly speculation on my part. But this one here, if you look at this one, this is also by the company Antigravity, and it says Insta360, and you see the little drone itself. And I think that this, when I look at this, this is reminiscent, and it reminds me of the Hover X1. Not the Hover X1 Pro Max, but the Hover X1 and also the DJI drone that will be able to follow you around. I believe it's the Neo is what DJI calls it. And I think that this is going to have some AI capability of being able to follow you around. And it may actually come with a little remote in this case right here. But, I mean, if you look at it, it's small, compact. This is definitely going to be under the 250 gram threshold. But there's another photo that I want to show you. So, first off, right here, we got 360 times anti-gravity. The future is up. So, we all saw the video release. And now we're going to get a pretty good idea if you look at this image here. So, we see the forward props. You see the rear props on it, and the angle that it has. And let's zoom in a little bit and take a look. So we can definitely see one of the spherical 360 lenses on the bottom and one up on top. And I had someone email me saying, you know, Andre, I really wonder if it's going to be, 360 degree cameras. How are you going to be able to fly the drone knowing where you're going if you've got this 360 degree spherical view? And my answer to that person was, I think that the 360 camera portion is going to be something that is either internally recorded on internal storage or via micro SD card. And the 360 footage you're going to be able to either edit on your phone or with a desktop app. And I think in the front, right here, is going to be a forward-facing camera so that you've got video telemetry, or at least visual telemetry of where the drone is going. And, you got to keep in mind line of sight. Like I said, I don't think that this is going to come under the 250 gram threshold. I think that this is going to be a little bit higher than that. I think probably 5 to maybe even 750 grams. But now we're starting to get a good look. And this portion right here is what interests me right here. This little line, which is either for maybe a cover that's going to cover up over the lenses to protect them. It'd be really nice if they implemented the replaceable lenses if for some reason you were to crash your drone, because I don't see any optical avoidance, at least from this image here. There may be some optical avoidance sensors, although this does look like maybe a cooling duct here. The battery release in the rear, I don't see any other optical avoidance. But then again, like I said, it's strictly speculation on my part. But I think that this is going to be the forward-facing camera, and I really don't know if this is actually going to be able to record video. And maybe it records in two different internal storages or two different SD cards, where you could have like a 4K here and the Insta360 8K resolution from these two. And when you think about stitching, that's going to be the interesting point, because if you look at the Insta360 X5 in its body, this looks to be a little bit wider as far as top to bottom than what the Insta360 is if you were to orientate the lenses the same way. So I think that the stitch line is going to be a lot different. But given the fact of where the props are, and if you look at where I'm kind of like drawing where the props would go, I think that this would be the stitch line right here, right up to the end of the props, and that's how they're going to get rid of the body. So obviously there's going to be some dramatic stitching that's going to have to take place to actually take the entire body out. But that's just my speculation regarding this new venture of Insta360 and Antigravity. And that person had asked me, Antigravity, is it just Insta360 offering up their technology for the 360 cameras to this new company? And I say no. I think that Antigravity is a new sister company offshoot of Insta360. This is now going to be their drone division. So I think Antigravity is strictly for aerial videography or photography, and I think Insta360 is going to stick with handheld stuff, but that's just my speculation. So with all of that out of the way, what do you think? Tell me down in the comment section below. Do you think that this whole Insta360 360 drone, is there a market for it? Because I think that if the stitching is correct and they do the 8K, and I know there's going to be some people that say, well, iPhone knows that it's not 8K. I don't want to get into all that, but an 8K resolution and whatever that front camera is going to be, is there a market for it? Because I think that there is going to be a market for it, especially if this drone has the capability of some FPV flying. And I say that because it's like a friend of mine, Chris, he does a lot of FPV drone flying, and I can see him actually using a 360 drone and flying around and in and out of places and getting some unbelievable shots, because you're not affixed to one camera that's forward facing. You can choose your angle 360 degrees all the way around you. Are you interested in it? Would you get one? What do you think the price is going to be? Because I think that's the big thing, because, I saw one YouTuber said for sure he's actually flown this new Antigravity drone and it's under 250 grams. And I find it really hard to believe. And I'm not calling him a liar. I'm just saying that considering that there's two sensors and there's going to have to be some massive processors going on and a battery and all that, I think it's going to break that 250 gram threshold really easy. Now, the smaller drone, I think that's going to be under 250 grams super easy. I think that's going to be like the Hover X1 or the X1 Pro Max, that you can fly around and it maybe it has some AI features to it. But anyway, it's just an interesting video that I wanted to share my thoughts about, because I'm really excited, because here we are basically just past the middle of 2025, and can this Insta360 collaboration with Antigravity, can this drone, or these two drones that get released, but really the 360 drone, is that going to be the product of the year? Is that going to be what everybody is talking about, and you're going to be able to see some dynamic videos? I hope to get my hands on one, because if I do, I will definitely, I've already got some thoughts in mind of some creative shots I'd love to get with it. But anyway, tell me down in the comments section below. And by the way, if you're new here, consider subscribing. And yeah, until the next video, talk to you later. Bye.